So today I'm taking you to a national park that of all the presentations is the closest park to us, and this is called Mammoth Cave National Park. It was established by our government, our federal government, as a park in July of 1941. And here's where it's located. And by the way, I forgot to say I'm using Jacey Nethers' presentation today. So it is in Kentucky, and you'll notice right here, kind of more into the southwest corner, from where we live, it's only about a 4.5 to 5 hour drive. And so it's a great place to get, if you haven't ever been to a park, a first taste of a national park. It has lots of, like tourist attractions around it. It's easy to find a hotel, a reasonable hotel or a campground there. So this is what you would see. So most people go for the underground stuff. So those are some stalactites. Look, there's still water within the cave. That's a hint of our landscape explanation. But also the surface above ground is protected too. And so here's how Mammoth Cave has formed. Jacey says Mammoth Cave was formed by water erosion, and I'm adding this specifically groundwater once it's underground. The ground where the Mammoth Cave currently is made of limestone, which is a sedimentary rock made of the mineral calcite from dead sea animals, and there's a sandstone layer on top of that. Millions of years ago, the Green River cut through the sandstone layer and the streams from it, which is now underground, and started to erode the limestone. The cave started forming only 10 to 15 million years ago, and so the water had time to dissolve the minerals in the limestone, which formed way before that, 320 to 360 million years ago. The canyons were formed because the tilted limestone along the underground streams. These passages are responsible for making all different kinds of formations. Now, Jacey put her connection down here, and she said it was when we were learning about water erosion and sedimentary rocks like limestone during our first Rocks and Minerals unit. Okay, so I picked Jacey's because she did excellent descriptions, but also because this video is giving you an awesome tour of Mammoth Cave.
Located just an hour and a half south of Louisville, Kentucky, Mammoth Cave National Park gets 2 million visitors a year.
We're going to explore all the bizarre ways this cave has been used over the centuries.
Today, Ranger Vicki Carson will be showing us around.
Whoa, look at that. Oh my gosh. Already, it is creepy down here. It's eerie. Honestly, it's like we're walking into an abyss.
This is one of the first big rooms that you come to in the cave, and it's called the Rotunda because of that round ceiling. Yeah. And here is where there are remains from a saltpeter mine back in 1809, and these are the original timbers.
Saltpeter is a naturally occurring chemical compound that is used to make gunpowder. During the War of 1812, the British cut off the American supply of foreign gunpowder, so slaves mined the nitrate here. They are the unsung heroes, and their bravery saved the United States.
The gunpowder that they were able to harvest, that basically won the War of 1812, did it not?
Yes.
It's amazing.
So we're following Vicki, and she takes us to what she's calling a bottomless pit.
For the first people who came here and crossed, probably in 1838, the lanterns that they had were smaller. The light didn't shoot downward, and it just looked like it went on and on.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's far.
105 feet down, in fact. Yikes.
Oh, that's creepy. Wow.
We call this the subway.
Oh, yeah.
So we've been wandering around in the cave for a while, and all of a sudden, Vicki leads us to these little stone huts in the middle of this cave.
Oh. Believe it or not, people suffering from tuberculosis, or consumption as it was called, actually lived here.
Dr. John Cron thought the cave air had restorative properties. He saw people going on cave tours. They would walk for miles and never get tired. And he asked people with consumption to come into the cave and live here. In the 1840s, people stayed for about 6 months. There were
6 months entirely in this hut? The doctor thought it would help people breathe more easily, but because they had to light fires for warmth and to cook, it became very smoky down here. Many patients, and eventually even the doctor himself, died.
This is Mammoth Dome. It's a vertical shaft, almost 200 feet high.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Look at that. And you're saying that water did all that?
Yes, and still is. You hear the water falling.
Yeah, I'm getting wet right now.
It's hard to believe that water alone carved them, but slowly over 10 million years, that's exactly what happened.
Oh. Get one in the eye?
In the eye, yeah.
Okay, now this is Fat Man's Misery. So I don't know.
All right.
It's really tricky.
Lead on.
Oh, yeah.
Just go slowly and keep in mind this is a tiny canyon. You can see how water scalloped the edges and then just made this windy little path.
That is incredible.
Jack, are you miserable yet?
No, but my back hurts.
They should call this tall man's misery.
What was that?
Bats start whizzing by my head, and I'm just flailing my arms around.
He's just trying to find the way out, you guys. Another bat.
Another bat. Another bat.
Here he is.
Oh, there he is. Whoa.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure to leave any questions or comments.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. I thought that was an excellent video to give you a sense of the park. Okay, now this is the next slide that Jacey did, and let me move myself a little away. So that was totally not what I wanted to do. Sorry about that. Okay, so she put all of her attractions on one slide, and you saw this one in the video, Fat Man's Misery, because it's so difficult to go through. Mammoth Dome you saw in the video, that's that 192 feet tall vertical shaft, and sometimes the bottomless pit is also more commonly known, but it's actually not as tall as Mammoth Dome. And I had known about those attractions, but this was new to me. River Hall, here's a picture of River Hall. And this is when they've had a lot of rain in the area. This will flood and you can actually boat through it, which would be interesting. So here are Jacey's plants. And she wrote a lot about their adaptations to survive. This is the devil's walking stick, and it is not commonly eaten because it has spiny and sharp stems to make it the devil's walking stick. And also these yellow flowers will turn into poisonous berries. This is a unique plant for the area. Prickly pears are the only native cactus to Kentucky, and you can find them only growing though about 9 inches tall. And then this one is called arrowwood, and it's a shrub that has small white flowers, toxic berries, and also they're known for their bad smell. So that bad smell would detract creatures from coming to eat it. This is also, just when you look at the pictures, it's our biome. It's a temperate deciduous forest. And now here are her creatures. So you saw in the video that Mammoth Cave is home to bats. There are 5 different types: the little brown, the big brown bat, the gray bat, the Indiana bat, and the pallid bat. And they've roamed the cave for years, but there's this fungus there called the white nose syndrome, and it does that. It grows on their nose and hurts their respiratory system. When you go into the cave, you have to actually really wipe your feet on this specialized mat so you don't have fungal spores on your shoes. Okay, so this one is a wood rat, also known as pack rats, because they live in vegetation around them. They're only about 8 inches long, which is 2/3 of a ruler, but they do carry disease. They're mostly nocturnal. And this is an interesting one, the 6-lined race runner. Doesn't it look like lanes on a track? It's a gecko that's common in Kentucky, and they get their name from the lines on their back and also the speed that they run. They're shorter than a ruler from head to tail, only 15 to 24 centimeters. Now, Jacey has one of the most interesting current events to me of the whole year. She read about a research study because they estimate, and by the way, Mammoth Cave is called Mammoth Cave because it's so big. There are 400 miles of cave passages that have been found. They think there could be up to 600 more cave miles to be undiscovered. And so they have put a trackable dye into the water, and they're tracing the way that the water goes to help find other pathways. And Jacey did say that this dye does not hurt the ecosystem. Interesting. Looks like green slime, but it's actually a science research. And so this is Jacey's reflection. She was at Mammoth Cave when she was a little girl, but doesn't remember it really well. If she ever went back, she'd hike the cave. She'd like to do the boat tour in River Hall and would go through Fat Man's Misery. She'd also like to go to this spot called Frozen Niagara. And the most interesting thing she learned was how the cave was formed. So pause me if you need to open your presentation chart, but let's get typing. So that was Jacey. You spell her name Jacey, Jacey. Her park there is Mammoth Cave in Kentucky. And then for sure, the dominant force to shape the land is groundwater erosion. So groundwater means water that's in rock underground. And then things you could see or do at her park. Here's her attractions: Mammoth Dome, River Hall, Fat Man's Misery, the Bottomless Pit. And if you want to, you can look up Frozen Niagara. It's a real decorated part of the cave with lots of stalactites and stalagmites. So of course you're going to mark your Mammoth Cave at how much you would like to personally see it. And then make sure you add a picture of the attraction that most interests you. Keep in mind, this is our closest to home of all our presentations. Try to talk your parents into going.